The cabin door. I caught my wife cheating on what was supposed to be a surprise weekend meant to save our marriage. The cabin door creaked open under my eager hands, a sound that once might have meant warmth and love, but now, in hindsight, sounds more like a warning. I'd spent weeks planning the perfect escape, a quiet getaway to the Texas Hill Country, nestled near Lake Travis. Just far enough from Austin to feel like a reset button, but close enough to keep it spontaneous. I'm Mark, a freelance photographer with a love for light, shadows, and the stories caught between them. My wife, Leah, is a yoga instructor. Graceful, magnetic, and lately distant. I'd started noticing the changes months ago. Fewer laughs, more silence. Her late nights at the studio grew longer. Her affection more reserved. She started sleeping with her back to me. First, I chalked it up to stress. Now, maybe she just needed a break. So, I planned one for us. I told her I'd been called last minute for a weekend shoot and wouldn't be home. Instead, I loaded up the car with her favorite snacks. The rosemary almond she liked, that weird lavender soda she always claimed helped her sleep, and drove out Friday evening with hope buzzing in my chest. I imagined her surprise when I called her from the cabin, inviting her to join me. I thought maybe we could sit by the fire, laugh again, maybe even fall in love all over. The drive was calm, winding roads bordered by fields starting to bloom. Her favorite time of year. I'd even picked a cabin with access to a nearby wildflower trail, thinking she could photograph it with me. Maybe it'd remind her of who we were before things got off. When I pulled up, I noticed something wrong immediately. There was a car already in the driveway. Bleak, black, 40. Not hers. Not one I'd ever seen. My stomach sank. Music spilled faintly from the windows. Not the soft acoustic playlist she used during yoga. Something bolder, upbeat, intimate. I knocked. No answer. I hesitated, but I had a key. It was our weekend cabin after all. The door creaked open. Inside, warmth. Candlelight flickered against wood-paneled walls. The fireplace was lit. A bottle of wine, 2 half-full glasses, and a blanket on the couch. And under that blanket, Leah. With someone else. She sat up like she'd been yanked from a dream, her eyes wide, mouth already trembling with the shape of an apology she couldn't finish. The man beside her, tall, gym-built, smugly unsure, pulled his shirt on as if modesty could erase what I had just seen. "Mark," she gasped. I can explain." The camera bag slid off my shoulder and hit the floor with a dull thud. My heart thudded harder. She called him Ryan. Said he was a client from her studio. Said they'd connected. Said it wasn't serious at first. But as she fumbled through her words, the truth spilled out. They'd been seeing each other for months. The late nights, the cancelled plans, the cold shoulder in bed. All of it had been carefully curated lies. This weekend, it was never meant for me. It was theirs. A sharp pressure built in my chest. I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Everything I'd held onto, the hope, the love, the memories, felt like sand slipping through my fingers. I dropped the cabin keys on the table, turned, and walked out. The door slammed behind me. Harder than I meant. Louder than I wanted. The drive back to Austin felt like a dream I couldn't wake from. The wildflower fields I'd scouted earlier blurred by the windows. No longer beautiful, just cruel reminders of a love I'd tried to salvage alone. That night, sleep didn't come. I lay on our couch staring at the ceiling, tracing the cracks in the plaster like they held some answer. I remembered her excuses, the way she'd stopped wearing her wedding ring when we were home. The guilt in her voice during casual conversations that I now understood weren't casual at all. The next day, I confronted her in our apartment. A sob. She begged. Said it was a mistake. That she didn't mean to fall for him. That she still loved me. But I couldn't find that love in her eyes. I could only see the ghost of it, hollow and fading. I told her I needed space. Told her I wanted a separation. She packed her things a week later. Left behind the lavender soda and a faint scent of her favorite sandalwood lotion. The silence in our home was deafening. Ryan, from what I heard, disappeared shortly after. I doubt he'd signed up for the aftermath. I later found out she was drawn to his boldness, his passion, his presence. Things I'd apparently stopped offering. I buried myself in work. My camera became my therapist. I roamed the city, capturing Austin's sunsets, the quiet poetry of light bouncing off water, the ache of empty sidewalks at dawn. Months passed. And one morning, I found myself standing alone on the rocky edge of Lake Travis, watching the sky shift from indigo to gold. In my hands was a photo I'd taken earlier, a single wildflower growing stubbornly through a cracked patch of earth. It was imperfect, off-center, but it was honest, felt like me. Leia's betrayal broke something in me. But it also unearthed something deeper, resilience. I'd loved hard, tried, I trusted, and now I had to rebuild. The cabin had been sold to a young couple. I hoped they'd fill it with memories better than mine. As the sun broke fully over the lake, I closed my eyes, breathed in the cool air, and let the pain go. Not all at once, but enough. Enough to begin again.